So I have this really strong memory from childhood of this particular meal that my mom would make.
And she of course was going to cook for us. There was no way that she was not going to cook for us.
My brother and my friends, and they all were like, whoa, that's really good. My dad was kind of the same way, where he thought,
that would make me so happy. Not that seeing her wouldn't make me happy, because that's the first thing.
But she made this thing that to me was like the ultimate comfort food as like a 4-year-old.
It's made with peanut butter and kale and vegetable stock.
And not quite a sauce, not quite a fully cooked egg, but something in between a raw egg and a fully cooked egg.
On the inside there's some jam and some cream. And it's like Oreo icing.
Like, you know, like pieces of organs and intestines in sort of a broth. It was actually a fairly tasty broth.
The smell of them, I'm always like,
my God, it was like the best spaghetti dish that I had ever had in my life.
And that made me feel comforted in that salty, greasy, yummy.
I don't know. I die every time.
So I have this really strong memory from childhood of this particular meal that my mom would make. Now my mom worked, she was a professor, and she was really busy when I was a little kid. I think she was getting her PhD. And so she didn't do like a whole lot of cooking for us, and her cooking was pretty simple and it was kind of slammed together, but she made this thing that to me was like the ultimate comfort food as like a 4-year-old. And what it was she would get salami, and she'd cut it slices like this, right? And then she'd put them in the oven and she'd broil them. So you'd have like several pieces of broiled salami. She'd take the plastic off the outside there. And then, you know what happens to salami when you put it in the oven and you broil it? It makes a cup. I can't do it here because I don't have a broiler, but it makes like a little, it cups up, kind of like, it sort of makes a little cup. And inside the cup is like a little pool of the fat. And it's like a little salami cup with fat in it. And I'd call it crisped up salami. Crisped up salami. I said, Mom, can I have crisped up salami? And she would make me crisped up salami and she'd serve it to me on a paper plate with cucumber slices. And so I like crisped up salami and cucumber slices as a kid. It was like comfort food. It was being with my mom, and it was my simple lunch. And the salami with little stains on the paper plate where the grease was. I mean, I can remember everything about it: the smell, the look, and a little time with my mom. My family had kind of this very conflicted relationship. My mom had a very conflicted relationship with cooking because her mom was a really good cook, and my grandmother made these great meals and had all these recipes. And my mom really didn't know how to cook that well, or didn't care about it. She didn't like cooking. She was like, and she was sort of against the idea of being a housewife. And so doing something in the kitchen was sort of something that made her angry. It made her angry at my dad that she had to do it, and why does he get to have a career and I have to take care of the kids, and I'm trying to get my PhD. So there was a lot of anger around food in my house, around cooking. But this was, I think maybe the reason I remember this fondly is it was like this one time where I was getting something that sustained me, and my mom was doing it. I don't think it was that hard. You know, like how hard is it to like hack off a piece of salami, put it in the broiler, and throw it in front of your kid on a paper plate with some cucumber slices? It's not very hard, right? So like she found a way out where she didn't have to work too hard. She could go back to reading Henry James and writing her PhD, and I could have the thing that sustained me, you know, and that made me feel comforted in that salty, greasy, yummy thing.
One of my more recent favorite foods is peanut soup.
Peanut soup?
Yep, it's vegan.
Okay.
It's from Africa. It's made with peanut butter and kale and vegetable stock and black beans and onions. Well, it's really spicy, so I mean, spices are always fun. And like, it's kind of creamy because the peanut butter, and when you add in like the kale and like onion and garlic and the black beans, it makes it more of a complex flavor. And I think that even just adding, there's tomato paste in there, which is pretty like has a strong like umami taste. So when you add that with like peanut butter, it makes like a pretty complex dish in a way, and it's pretty filling. And my boyfriend and I are the ones that kind of like found the recipe and started making it when I lived with him in Australia. and it just became like a bi or tri-monthly thing, like meal for us, and it lasts a while. And then when he came to visit me, we made it for my parents and my brother and my friends, and they all were like, whoa, that's really good. My dad was kind of the same way, where he thought that it was going to be boring and disgusting and like weird, and then he ended up going back for like thirds. So
Well, it's kind of cool that like you and your boyfriend found it, and then so you had that shared experience together, and then you brought it back here
Yeah.
and you shared it with your parents.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool that that is kind of a story in its own way. It makes it sentimental, makes it more than just like this
Just
thing
a
that
soup.
you eat. Yeah. Maybe go over like what everything means to you and
Yeah,
all
we've
that.
quite an array of things. So let's just start off with what's at the front. I've not even opened it yet. That's how much I love them, Jammy Dodgers. This is the ultimate biscuit to dunk in your tea. This is a chocolate digestive. These are fairly new. These are Cadbury Crunchy cookies. Fox's Viennese. These are probably par with the digestives in terms of deliciousness. So these are the thing that a lot of people associate with England. Crumpets. These actually aren't like British ones. These are ones I picked up in Trader Joe's. Oh, they smell horrible. Probably because I've been sitting in my room for a long time, but I'm probably going to have to throw these out. The last British thing I'm going to go over is these. They're actual candies called Roundtree's Fruit Pastels. And the reason I went back to them last is because I said they were sentimental. Because a couple of years ago, my grandma, who I was really, really close to, passed away. And she's always been around growing up. And whenever I'd visit her house, she'd always have one of these ready for me. Brand new packet, fresh Roundtree's Fruit Pastels packet, and that would make me so happy. Not that seeing her wouldn't make me happy, because that's the first thing, but this would make me even happier. And my mum hated these because if you look at what one of them looks like, they're absolutely diabolical looking. Like, these look like something an evil villain would feed someone that they're trying to kill. But yeah, these always have a special place in my heart because of what my grandma got me addicted to them. Not in a bad way, but yeah, that's as far as I can go with that. I have a special connection to them. I'll always advocate for these, even though they don't taste that great. They taste even better to me, but to most people they're pretty average. But yeah, we don't actually have a lot of sugary cereals in England. So when I came to America, I flipped out when I saw this in the aisle. Because I heard all kinds of rumors and stories and legends about American cereals. And I love peanut butter. And what better than Captain Crunch peanut butter crunch? Honestly, like, this stuff is amazing. You probably know how to make cereal. Most people do, I hope. You put it in a bowl.
Yeah.
You put it in a bowl, you dump the milk on, bam, there you go. I actually do something even weirder where I'll put it in a bowl with the milk, and then I'll take a spoonful of crunchy peanut butter and dump it in there, just to add the extra factor of real nuts and real peanut butter. I don't know. I die every time.
So I guess, okay, so if I were to pick one particular food, I wouldn't say it's necessarily my favorite food, but it's kind of one of those go-to dishes in the family because it's really simple to make, and it's also sort of very sort of satisfying meal. So we do spaghetti carbonara on a regular basis. I don't know if it's quite weekly, but it's an easy go-to dish. It's basically spaghetti with beaten eggs thrown on top of it with some bacon and onion, and you can make the whole dish, and maybe the longest thing is waiting for the water to boil, really, or boiling the pasta. But the first time I had that dish was when my parents took us all to Italy. It was our first family trip to Europe. By the time we got to my mother's aunt's house, it was pretty late at night, and we were all starving from traveling and landing and jet lag and all that. We were all pretty exhausted, and we went to Zia Bruna's house, my mother's aunt's house, and she of course was going to cook for us. There was no way that she was not going to cook for us that first night we were there. And she brought out, 15-20 minutes later, this steaming bowl of spaghetti dressed in not quite a sauce, not quite a fully cooked egg, but something in between a raw egg and a fully cooked egg, with chopped, what was actually pancetta, but bacon and onion. And that first bite, my God, it was like the best spaghetti dish that I had ever had in my life. It wasn't just that the food was delicious, it was that we were exhausted, we were tired, and she had dashed into the kitchen to pull together something that was just perfect for us at that moment. And so that dish that we had never had before became something that my mother would then whip up for us on exactly those kinds of moments when there wasn't a lot of time to cook, but we wanted something very satisfying. And for me, I always go back to that first time I ate it. I always sort of remember that moment of that first bite.
I think food is at the heart of a lot of family dynamics. There are a lot of things that happen around the table, or if they don't happen around the table, the fact that they're not happening around the table matters. So like families who don't eat together, that's notable, right? And food involves all the senses. You've got the sense of smell and the sense of taste. There's texture in your mouth. There's the sound of things cooking. I mean, I feel like I could almost hear the sounds of the sizzling salami as she opened up the oven. Right? There's all the senses are used in cooking and eating, and that because of that, your brain is getting so much information and attaching to it any emotions that are going on at the time, so that when you replay a memory of foods as a child, you're replaying all those emotions, right? It's not because your brain says, oh, all those sensory things are lighting up, and those are attached to feelings.